Hello, my friends, and happy November 27th. Welcome to Master Microstrategy, where you and I are getting a little bit closer every single day to understanding the genius that is Michael Saylor and everything he's doing with MicroStrategy. As always, this is not financial advice. Please consult a financial professional before making any financial decisions. This is just thoughts, opinions, news, ideas, concepts, all that fun stuff. And let's start over at the MSTR tracker. As you can see, we've got the stock price at 353. Of course, this is pre-open. There's a chance that the market will open a little bit up today. It's looking good, but only time will tell, of course, as we know. As you can see, we do still have those 386,700 Bitcoin. Michael Saylor stacked over 55,000 more Bitcoin this week and potentially more to come. So we'll see. But this is definitely more to come this week, by the way. There's definitely more to come in the future. You can see the total cost basis is just about 22 billion with a $14 billion of a profit loss for a 65% return percentage. And it's currently 135 out of 500 in the S&P 500 ranking. That's a number that's, we would like to see back in the top 100 again. That'd be a lot of fun because, that's going to be a lot more of an opportunity for us in 2025 to potentially be included in the S&P 500 index. Right now, the Bitcoin price is right around 93.9. It's kind of fluctuating a little bit here, which of course is having a massive impact on MicroStrategy. Something interesting to think about, by the way, that a lot of people have been talking and posting about 4 years ago. So the last halving back in 2020, there was what was called the Thanksgiving Massacre, where Bitcoin went from like 19.5. So it was trying to get over 20,000, just like we're trying to get over 100,000 now. But back in 2020, it was trying to get over 19,500, trying to break through that 20K barrier. It dumped into 16,000 and change. It was like a 17% dump. And people were calling it the Thanksgiving Day Massacre. And guess what? We dumped like 9%, 8%, somewhere around there from the 99,000 and change top. Again, having that resistance obviously at 100K. So we're experiencing a little bit of that, about half as bad so far. I mean, again, who knows what the future will bring, but hopefully we can bring some momentum into Thanksgiving. But an important thing to note about that Thanksgiving Day Massacre is that it then proceeded in the month of December. I think it was by mid-December actually, to go from like 16, all the way up to like 28 and beyond. And then of course it went on to make an all-time high at 69,000 for that cycle. So that Thanksgiving Day Massacre may have spooked a lot of people, but those who stayed strong and stayed true were rewarded mightily. Let's move over to some news. We got some interesting news here today. I'm going to start off by sharing MicroStrategy's unprecedented Bitcoin buying could push its stock up another 49%. And this is from Bernstein, by the way. Bernstein is well renowned as a great researcher. They're respected in a lot of areas, and they are very bullish on this. They say it could soar on its unique Bitcoin strategy, says Bernstein. It owns 1.8 of the total Bitcoin supply and plans to increase its holdings. And it's projecting that the company MicroStrategy will own 830 billion or 4% of the total Bitcoin supply by 2033. Let's knock a few years off of that. If I'm going to be honest, we'll see. But I think that they will, MicroStrategy will be a lot faster in their acquisition of Bitcoin. But again, it's going to be beautiful because as Bitcoin goes up, MicroStrategy is going to keep buying more, but they'll be getting less Bitcoin overall because of the dollar amount that Bitcoin will be in its equivalent of 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 and beyond, if and when Bitcoin gets here. The article shows some other really cool things about what's going on with MicroStrategy and where they're at. Of course, we're actually even higher than this now. This hasn't been updated, so we're probably like somewhere still below 400, but we're definitely higher than this number right now because as the MSTR tracker shows, we have 386,000. That's right, 386,000 Bitcoin. So not 331K. And then kind of go on with some interesting news here. They're showing some interesting charts, which again, you can always pause if you want to watch what's happening if Bitcoin touches 200 by 2025, 500 by 2029, 1 million by 2033, and so on and so forth. And then again, it just ends with a comment that is on the verge of $100,000. And of course, time will tell. Where are we going? The next article that I want to focus on is MicroStrategy surges 8% in its pre-market sales. We want to know what's going on. And so basically, Bitcoin's recovering a little bit. So MicroStrategy is recovering a little bit. And of course, whenever you have a huge dump like we had a big dump over the past couple of days. It's a great company. People are going to want to buy the dip. And so people are buying that dip, and they're kind of going into some other things that are happening in the overall markets. And hey, the reality is this: a lot of other coins and companies in general are dumping as well. It's just one of those up and downs that we have, the surges and the retracements. Another good article that I pulled out here was Centaurus Financial acquires 1,910 shares of MicroStrategy. You got to catch up to me, Centaurus. You're lacking in your share count. I will say that, because I definitely have more shares than you. So let's catch up to somebody is here mastering MicroStrategy one article at a time here. But it is cool to see that companies like this are investing in it, because again, as we've talked about, these type of companies that dip their toe in, this is just kind of like getting their footing, testing things out. When they start seeing, then they'll start researching even more into it. Now that they own that on their sheet, they'll probably assign somebody to it, and then they're going to learn more about it, get more bullish about it. The returns will be great, of course, if it does what we think it's going to do and what we hope it's going to do, and they'll start investing more and more and more. This other article I thought was pretty funny. It was about Jason Calacanis questioning MicroStrategy's high stakes Bitcoin strategy. Honestly, this guy is just a troll, and I really think that he is just trolling Michael Saylor. That's kind of my thoughts. He is kind of having fun and trying to kind of spark up a lot of debate, because he knows there's a lot of MicroStrategy fans out there, fanboys, fangirls, fan people. He knows that there are, and he knows that these comments are going to really stir up the pot, get him a ton of engagement, get everybody talking about Jason Calacanis, just like we are right now, and going back and forth with him. So there's going to be people that love his comments because they hate MicroStrategy. We call that ultimate cope, because they think they missed it, although they don't realize that it still would be not potentially, but in my opinion, probably the best investment of their life today if they made it. But again, time will tell, and we'll let Jason, continue to just bring more eyeballs to MicroStrategy, because hey, first they ignore you, then they fight, then they laugh at you, then they hate you, and then you win. And there's a lot of people right now that hate MicroStrategy, but because of that hate, they're looking more into it to try to come up with more reasons to hate it. And let me tell you, a good number of those people, the intelligent ones, will fall in love. All right, let's move on over to some tweets. I really liked this tweet right here. This was from Horse. Says, if Saylor sold, meaning if he just sold all of his Bitcoin, it would go down as having placed one of the best trades of all time, 14.9 billion so far. He's comparing that to John Paulson's bet against subprime mortgages, which earned approximately 4 billion something, whatever it was. Michael Saylor just responded, 3 words: I'm not selling. My friends, Michael Saylor is not selling. He is committed to this thesis. He knows Bitcoin is perfect money. He knows Bitcoin is going up forever in his thesis and in my thesis as well. And why would you ever sell perfect money, especially when you see what else is going on in the world out here with a debasement of literally every single form of capital? Let's move on to another tweet, which I thought was good. Bitcoin therapist, he's getting pretty fired up recently, and I can understand why, but he says every single corporate board is going to be talking about MicroStrategy and adopting Bitcoin as fast as blank possible. This is the moment in time everything changes. It'll be happening. It's happening right now. We are making history. One day you'll tell stories to your grandchildren about how you hodled, and I believe that is true. I really do. Jeff, this is a good post that he wrote. I just thought it was interesting to show the sell side of MSTR. He says the thinnest in a long time. So again, if the bulls come back in control, it'll be kind of like a rocket ship, is at least what he is insinuating, and he kind of shows the side of that, the chart of what is going on in that area. Let's let Michael Saylor kind of take it away as he talks to these two lads.
Now God comes down from heaven above, and God says, okay, I've decided to solve your problem. I'm going to run a bank in heaven. I'm going to issue 21 million God coins, and they're infinitely dividable. And I'm just going to go ahead and do this for you for just about nothing. And you can telepathically move the coins between each other to pay off your debts. And I'm going to make sure that no bank, no government, no counterparty, no country, no criminal takes your money away from you. And I promise never to inflate it. I'm just going to, so there's your money. There's your bank. It's a bank in heaven, right? And a person can hold a gun to your head, but you've got the money in your head, and the angels will, protect you. They might murder you, but they're not getting your money. So if I thought about that, I'm thinking, okay, God is going to run an honest bank for me. Okay, good. That's probably good. But in the absence of God offering to run the bank, and protect your property rights forever from everybody, the next best idea is we create a piece of software using cryptography, and then the software instantiates in the protocol 21 million coins subdividable by 100 million, so 2.1 quadrillion satoshis. Effectively enough. You could subdivide it more if you needed to. We create that system, and now you can send 1,000, 100, a million, a billion, 10 billion, $100 billion worth of that from anybody to anybody without asking anybody's permission using a computer. You can hold $1 million in your head, $1 billion in your head. You can hold it in your hand. If you know you're going to get arrested, you can just zap it to your sister in Singapore. If you don't trust the bank in New York, you can put it with the bank in London, right? And if you don't trust any bank, you self-custody. That's
All right, my friends, that was obviously a powerful video, and I want to move on to this 5 minute and change clip, almost 6 minutes, but it was really well done. So I just wanted to share this with you today.
with every other asset on earth, anything else you can own, houses, gold, silver, commodities, stocks, bonds, when the price goes up, the supply increases. If I increase the price of any stock by a factor of 10, the company issues more stock. Of course. Bitcoin's the only thing in the world that's inelastic price. If the price of Bitcoin triples, you can't make any more. If the price goes up by a factor of 1,000,000, you can't make any more. In engineering, there's something called conservation of energy. And the whole point of conservation of energy is energy can either be made or destroyed. There has to be conservation of it. The mathematical metaphor and mathematical analogy to that is proper math. 10 plus 10 equals 20. 2 plus 2 equals 4. If 10 plus 10 ever starts equaling 18, you got a problem. Yeah. If you have a swimming pool with a leak, if I have an electric system with a short circuit, if I have a leak in my engineering system, nothing works. Nothing in the world of ocean engineering, aeronautical engineering, electrical engineering, nothing works unless you respect conservation of energy. The problem with inflation is inflation does not respect conservation of energy. I've got a leak in the system. I've designed a currency which is not conservative. So properly understood, if you said, I want a conservative money supply, a conservative money supply would be there's $10 billion in the economy and nobody prints anymore. Right. And that's the Austrian economic sound money principle. Bitcoin is a conservative monetary system. It's the first system that respects the laws of thermodynamics, and the laws of physics, and the laws of math, which means it is true and pure. It has integrity. If you have integrity, if you have something which is true and pure, and you have durability, then you can build a family around it, a life around it, a company around it, or civilization around it. Steel is concentrated energy in metallic form. You ever walk in a steel plant and you look at the energy going into steel refining? Yeah. It's concentrated energy. The history of the human race is the civilization that channels energy most effectively always wins. Steel trumps iron. Iron trumps bronze. Bronze trumps rocks. Bows and arrows trump the guy with the spear. The guy with the spear beats the guy with the knife. It's always a matter. If you have air power, you beat land power. Sea power beats the army, and nuclear power trumps everybody. And so if I have steel, I have concentrated metallic energy, I can create a skyscraper punched up 100 stories in New York. How long will it last? 100 years. How long will a steel ship last? Longer than you will last, as long as it doesn't corrode. Wooden ships? Not so much. Wooden ships rot, right? You want to build a building and punch it up against gravity and hold it 100 years, you need concentrated energy. If you want to build a trust fund that'll last 100 years, how do you save $100,000 for 100 years and give it to your great-grandkids? You put it in the US dollar, you use 99% of your economic energy. You put it in gold, gold supply doubles every 30 years. The gold bankers keep inflating the gold. Maybe you lose 90% of your economic energy. But that would be a lucky happenstance because just about every country on earth seized the gold from their citizens in the last 100 years. Everybody, even the U.S., they take the gold. Yeah. So you want to save money for 100 years. You can't do it with currency. You can't do it with gold. Which company's going to be around in 100 years? You want to put $100,000 into real estate in Florida? Can you buy $100,000? Let's say you could. 2% tax, 4% maintenance fee, 4% of $100,000, $4,000 a year. Your money's not going to last 100 years. How do I preserve my property, which is economic energy, which is capital, which is money? How do I preserve that? I need something harder, more durable. I need a steel. I need an economic steel. Steel is concentrated metallic energy Bitcoin is concentrated digital energy. It's energy in digital form. I eliminated the friction on energy. What's the half-life of energy? I take a megawatt of power and I sell it at 12 cents a kilowatt hour. I have about $1 million. Okay, I'll give you $1 million of electricity. How long can you hold it in battery? You lose 2% a month. You can't hold it very long. You're going to lose 24% depletion rate in a battery of electricity. How do you send $1 million of electricity from New York to Tokyo? You can't. You can send electricity 500 miles over a power line. You'll lose 6%. Send it 10 times, you'll lose 60%. It doesn't move. Convert that energy, that electricity, into digital energy, a la Bitcoin. You upgrade it. If you were to convert a megawatt of power via a Bitcoin miner into Bitcoin, you'd have about $5 million worth of Bitcoin. You can hold it forever. You can send it to Tokyo for a nickel. You can put it in a trust fund. Bitcoin's going up 170% a year for a decade. The S&P 500 index is going up 14% a year on average for a decade. Gold, it's flat. It's not going anywhere. It's getting demonetized. It's a dead rock in a basement. It's not fast enough. You can't put gold on an iPhone. Gold's getting depleted, inflated, and manipulated away by the bankers and the miners. So Bitcoin is simply pure economic energy. These engineers, Satoshi and all of Satoshi's compatriots, what they did is created an engineered monetary asset on an open, permissionless network that anybody could participate in. Any country, any company, any individual. You don't need a bank. You don't need to ask permission. It is the ultimate egalitarian system.
And there you have it, my friends. Let's thank Thomas at heyapolo.com. He just put together that clip, and it's a great one. Obviously, a lot of cool things. One of my biggest takeaways amongst all the takeaways is that Bitcoin is pure economical energy. I mean, once you wrap your head around that phrase, Bitcoin is pure economic energy. Economic energy. What is that? Well, it's Bitcoin because it's pure and it's the best. It is the number one. And as always, my friends, remember, this is not financial advice. Please consult a financial advisor for any questions you have around finances and investments. And please remember, there is no second best. There is no second best.